You know, have you ever really thought about a piece of clothing that's, well, more than just clothing? I mean, a garment that's also a canvas, one that carries centuries of myths and legends and history all packed into every single thread. Well, today, we're going to unravel the story of one of these masterpieces. And that's not just some philosophical question, because in the amazing textile heritage of West Bengal, there's a sari that does exactly that. It's like a wearable tapestry, a storyteller you can literally drape around your shoulders, and it shares its tales with every single graceful fold.
And here it is. This is the Baluchari Saree. I mean, just look at the detail on its palu. That's the decorative end piece. What you're looking at, it's not a print, it's not embroidery. No, these are incredibly detailed stories, meticulously woven thread by thread. It literally turns the fabric into this moving fresco of Bengal's cultural soul.
So let's get into what makes this sari so special. While India has so many beautiful textiles, the Baluchari really stands apart. It's all about the story. This focus on narrative means it's a sari that truly has something to say. It's a piece of art that just begs you to come closer and, well, read its history.
Okay, so what is a Baluchari sari really? To put it simply, it's all about the stories. It's a silk sari originally from a place called Murshidabad, but now it's mainly from Bishnupur in West Bengal. And its number one most defining feature? It's these really complex, figurative scenes that are woven right into the fabric itself.
I just love this description because it captures the whole thing perfectly. It's not just a piece of clothing, it's a wearable archive. Each sari is a real, tangible piece of history that you can actually touch and wear. Think about it. It's a tradition that acts like a bridge between different eras, preserving centuries of myths and memories, all in silk.
But the stories aren't just in the sari. The sari itself has its own fascinating story, one of migration, survival, and revival. So let's trace its pretty remarkable journey, all the way from royal courts to the present day.
Okay, so check out this timeline. The story starts way back in the 18th century, in a village called Baluchar. It was thriving, under the patronage of the Nawab of Bengal. But then, disaster struck. A massive flood forced all the weavers to move to a new town, Bishnupur. And then, during the British era, things got even worse. The whole industry just plummeted, almost disappearing completely. But thankfully, after independence, there were these incredible revival efforts that brought the craft back from the brink. And then a huge moment in 2012. It was granted the prestigious Geographical Indication, or GI, status, which is so crucial for protecting its authenticity. What a roller coaster, right?
All right, so that's the history. But what's truly, truly breathtaking is the sheer artistry that goes into making one of these. Creating a Baluchari, it isn't just weaving. It's a testament to a master weaver's patience, their incredible skill, and just a deep, deep cultural knowledge.
And it all starts with the feel of the silk. We're talking pure, degummed mulberry silk. They process it to remove any impurities, and the result is this fabric that's unbelievably soft and smooth. It has this gorgeous, lustrous texture and a rich drape. You can just imagine how it catches the light. That quality is exactly what gives the sari its famous, elegant fall.
Now, the process itself is a true labor of love. First, they prep the silk threads and dye them in all these vibrant colors. Then, an artist meticulously, and I mean meticulously, draws the entire story out on graph paper. This design then gets translated into a series of punched cards, which is kind of like an early form of computer programming, really. These cards guide the loom. And finally, a master weaver steps in and spends days operating that loom, bringing the whole story to life, one single thread at a time. It's amazing.
And how long does all that take? Well, a lot of time. A single Baluchari sari takes at least a week to weave. A whole week. And for the really complex designs, it can take way, way longer. It's just an incredible investment of time and skill.
So, we've talked about the history, we've talked about the craft, but now let's actually read the stories. What are these woven narratives all about? This, my friends, is where the real magic happens.
Think of the Palu as a woven library. It's full of stories. You'll find these epic scenes from the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Like that famous moment of Lord Krishna explaining the Gita to Arjuna. But then you'll also see these little snapshots of life under the Nawabs, court scenes, noblemen riding horses, people smoking hookahs, and woven in between all that are these classic motifs, like the kalka or paisley, which symbolizes the tree of life.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, how is this different from, say, a Banarasi sari? It's a great question. The biggest difference is in the motifs and the threads. Baluchari saris, as we've seen, tell stories. They have figures, they have narratives, and they use colored silk threads. A Banarasi sari, on the other hand, is all about those beautiful floral and geometric patterns, and they're famous for using that shimmery metallic thread called zari. Two totally different vibes.
And get this, even within the Baluchari family, there are different types. You've got the Resham Baluchari, which is kind of classic and understated, using just a single color of silk thread for the whole pattern. Then there's the Meenakari Baluchari, which is way more vibrant. It uses 2 or more colors, which gives it this really cool enamel-like effect. And then the grandest of them all, the Swarnachari. This one uses gold or silver-colored threads, making the patterns just illuminate and glow. Absolutely stunning.
So you might ask, why does this 200-year-old tradition still matter today, in our super fast-paced world? Well, because the Baluchari Saree is not a museum piece. Not at all. It's a living, breathing part of culture, right now.
Today, when someone chooses to wear a Baluchari, it's a real statement. It's seen as a symbol of aristocracy, sure, but also of intellect and heritage. I mean, to really appreciate it, you're appreciating literature, mythology, history, all the stories woven right into the fabric. It shows a deep connection to your roots, and that's why it's such a prized possession, usually saved for those really special moments, weddings, festivals, big cultural celebrations.
And the good news is, its legacy is now protected. What you're looking at here is its Geographical Indication certificate, the GI tag. This is huge. It guarantees that a real, authentic Baluchari can only come from West Bengal, and it has to be made using those traditional methods. It's such a vital step to protect the craft and, of course, the livelihoods of the weavers who make them.
You know, at the end of the day, the survival of this incredible art form really comes down to us. It's about our appreciation, our support for the artisans who keep these stories alive. So I'll leave you with this to think about. In a world that's all about fast fashion, how do we make sure that these timeless stories, so beautifully woven in silk, continue to be told?